Hey there.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, we're still here.
Welcome back to Learning by Faith. We had to stop this and go back and what's our channel called? It's been a very hot minute, as they
Long.
say, since we have been on to give a homeschool update. I think the last time was in October, September, maybe.
Something like that. Yes.
Been a while.
The answer is, for anyone who has wondered, are we still homeschooling? Yes, we are.
We're still homeschooling.
I think, and we're going to talk about some of our prepared stuff, but I just think that why is it taking us forever? October, November, and December.
The holidays get busy. I blame it on the holidays.
We had holidays. My schedule with the choir ramped up, and so that just makes December pretty much a lost cause for anything else. And then November.
I just feel like this also is a little bit hard to do.
It's hard to do. I'm coming up with plenty of content as we talk about things. I'm always like, oh yeah, let me add that to the list. But
wanting to actually record.
Anyway, we have lots of stuff, and we're committing to, with this new year, to record more because we know there are lots of people who are looking and considering homeschooling. I have heard so many experiences and I've heard so many things lately, both from people within our circle and then other people who have heard and talked to me that they're considering it. And I'll just say this, that you won't find more optimistic people today. This is just my opinion. I haven't even said this to you. You won't find more optimistic people today than people with young children who are wanting the best for their children's future. There are so many people who are optimistic about the future in general, in my opinion, are those with young children and those who want a family and those who want to make a difference with their kids in the world. Those are some people that I've just been noticing lately, and those are the ones that I've been talking to lately.
Yeah, so we want to put this out there. We want to keep putting videos to maybe help you decide, basically.
So let's start off with how homeschool has been going since October, whatever it was our last video.
Well, I'll just talk about the holidays.
Sure,
I guess.
Start there.
We had a long list of fun things we wanted to do for the holidays, like gingerbread houses and gingerbread cookies, and go see Elf at the Hale Center Theater and make just lots of fun different things. And for once, like this year, I feel like was the first year that we were able to get to everything on our fun list.
Yeah, we did it all, and that was so fun. It was fun to be able to motivate the kids and say, hey, we're going to Hale Center Theater over by down in Salt Lake, and so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We also got a lot of ski days in, well, as much as we could, with hardly any snow.
It was a lack of snow up until.
We're starting to get it now that it's January, and so we're going to be doing a lot more of it.
Yes, and we did. You took three of the kids skiing on Monday, which was awesome. We didn't have to check them out of school or make up any work.
It was a great day. I took the day off because it was just in between storms. It was perfect Bluebird day, and it was fun. And then the kids just kept going the day we got back, or the day after we got back. So
it's super fun to be able to be flexible like that. And I feel like this new year, I've found like a good new rhythm that we kind of like.
Our next rhythm, let's just call it that.
I've eased up, or maybe let go a little bit of the, like, are they staying caught up on math?
That has been so hard for us to root out. But
it's a rooting out process for sure. Yeah. So lately we've been doing, instead of just breakfast and chores and then started on, math or language arts with every individual kid, we've been doing kind of like a gathering in the morning where after chores are done, we'll sit around the table and they'll do like a handwriting page from their Good and the Beautiful handwriting book while we listen to an audiobook, which has been awesome. Because I don't love reading for a half hour on end, or longer. Yeah. I do like reading to the kids, but audiobooks are so great because they're such great narration. And I'm also looking at like the science or history lesson we're going to do at that time and getting everything ready for it. So it's like good prepping phases for me, or if I need to change a load of laundry over, I'll go do it.
Mhm.
And they're just sitting doing that. And then after that, we've been doing either science or history because we don't do them every day. And it's just fun to be able to make time for like the fun subjects first.
Yeah, that's like the switch you've done now, right?
That was the switch, because back in December even, it was like, let's get language, arts, and math done. And then I felt like we didn't have time, or we rushed through science, or I was like, I only have a half an hour and then I have to go to a meeting. And then it just didn't happen every week like we wanted it to.
So we're just prioritizing maybe that fun gathering together time first, and then breaking off into
and then the
doing their
group
individual
subject,
things.
and then they break off to language, arts, and math. And when I'm doing the little kids, you know, they're pretty intense with my schedule. The older kids are kind of working on their own. And then when I'm done with the little kids, I feel kind of done. And it's just like questions that the bigger kids have. So that's been nice.
Yeah, speaking of kids' questions or comments, it's been really interesting that unsolicited to us one day, our oldest daughter came, or she is just in passing with me. I can't remember where we were that she said it, but she just out of the blue said, you know, Dad, I feel like I am learning math better at homeschool than I did in public school.
Yeah, she said, I actually understand it.
Yeah, I said, why? I said, tell me why you think that is. And she says, I now realize that when I was in public school, just how distracted I got in class because of the distraction just of other kids and just other things going on, that it was, she felt like she's getting more out of math in this environment than she did in public school.
And I think part of that is that she can finish a concept or a lesson and deep dive
go at her pace
every day too, instead of just, oh, the bell rang, you have to go and figure it out at home or whatever, which is great. And her Unit 2 assessment that she just took, like, you know, they review the concepts and then she takes like a little test. She did so good.
Yeah, I was
so
shocked.
Good on it.
I was shocked at how good she did on it, and how few she got wrong. And so I think even going into this year, you know, math was a harder thing for her. And she's gotten really good at it. She's started into algebra stuff now, and she's doing it really good. And it's just it's gratifying for us to see that she's loving it and enjoying it. She knows how to do it, and she can be confident in it.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So I just think that's a win right there for us, that she's feeling that it's going in the right direction for her as well.
Yes. Another thing we have been liking is our typing program we're using.
Oh my gosh.
Have we mentioned this in
I don't know, but we
found a great typing program.
We struggled to find a typing program. So we did not like the typing program that Good and Beautiful had.
It was
we love the Good and Beautiful. Their typing program stinks. And so we finally found one. We tried several different out until we finally found this one. And this one, hands down.
Yeah, it's called Typesy. Typesy.com. And it was like $70 for a 5-year thing or something.
I can't remember. It was worth it.
Awesome. They're learning where to put their fingers, and
yeah, each kid can log in as themselves, and then they progress through the units, and they teach them the home row, and they gamify it, which is what we wanted with typing. We didn't want it to just be typing, you know, old boring typing in a word processor. We actually, you know, we're not really big gamers, and neither are our kids, but this is one that we said, oh, we remember doing this in school. I remember like how motivating it was to actually play a game at the end of, you know, learning to do the home row or going up to the letter, you know, number 7 or something like that. So
Typesy is a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. So that's one that we recommend that everyone should go and look at. They should pay us. They should pay us. Just kidding. It's not like we have any followers. So.
I wish we had a coupon code or something. Also, let's see. One of our kids lost their language arts book for
this is just more of like a funny thing for us, that
and
It had never happened.
We have like these bins here that have their stuff. These are the little boys.
The little boys
big
are up here.
kids have theirs in their room. We're still working on like, how do we keep this all organized? Stuff ends up all over the house every day and we're lost. And then we're like, well, I guess you're not doing language arts today.
Anyway, but one kid lost his language art book, and we couldn't find it. We searched the house high and low, and it was gone for several days. And so, yeah, we learned the lesson that it eventually turned up somewhere.
I don't even remember where it was.
Yeah, I don't either. But it turned up somewhere, and it was just one of those things like, crap, like, what do we do? So one thing we've learned is at the end of whenever their schoolwork is done, we just say, go put your stuff back. Or even when we're doing nighttime routine, we just say,
put it back where
everyone go gather your stuff and just put it, in its home.
Yeah.
And then it'll be there for the next day, not lost. So that was really funny. Well, I was secretly laughing inside because I was like, holy crap, like this is, I'm sure other homeschoolers have figured this out, but
yeah,
we're still figuring it out.
Yes. Clear back in October, 3 months ago, we wanted to talk about this. So we're going to talk about it anyway, even though it's
still
been
going
3
to do
months. Because let's see, in October, they had a Utah area education conference with our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it was just like how obtaining an education and getting knowledge are a religious responsibility.
I had never heard that before. That was the first time that I ever heard our church say so directly and explicitly that education is akin to religion, that the obtaining of education is as important as regular worship. I had never heard that before. And so the whole point that they were trying to say is that we educate our minds so that one day we can render service of worth to somebody else, whether it being in a religious capacity and or in just a very practical capacity with neighbors, friends, family, colleagues, those kinds of things. So that was really interesting. So that the pursuit of education is lifelong. So, and that was a lot of what we were thinking and feeling with homeschooling with our kids too, that we don't want it to be thought of as like education is you go to that school.
You have to go to the place to learn in a desk and then you come home and you don't learn. We wanted it to be like a lifelong lifestyle.
Lifelong lifestyle. Yeah. So one thing that that our church leaders emphasized was to think big regarding education. They talked about dream big. And this was speaking to us because this is something that has been weighing on us for several years. And, this was the year that we finally did it. So the timing of this broadcast that our church did in October, when we had made the decision in July to homeschool, it was kind of what's the word?
Timely.
Yeah, it was timely. I'm thinking of religious terms, but so they just said, dream big about education. So this is our dream. This is our dream regarding education. Is we want a free market in the education system. We want it
at all levels.
At all levels, from preschool. We want college, all the way up to college. Yeah, we want people to have a free market where they do it. Not necessarily. Just lots of options for education. So our church leaders also talked about the pursuit of formal education from sources you trust. So
so just ask yourself this: do you trust the government to educate your child? Do you trust the teachers and administrators in your local area? We do. Our teachers are awesome.
For the second question, do we trust the government? No.
The government?
Flat no, or hard no.
Not so
we
much.
Don't trust the government in teaching our children. Do we trust the teachers here in our local area? Yes, we actually know many of the educators here in our area. I think for the most part we do.
They're pretty awesome.
But do you trust the educators to teach your kid principles that are consistent with the gospel of Jesus Christ? No. Not every
be taught in school.
Yeah, not every teacher is a member of our church or even believes in God, and so that's something that's important to us. So I'm not a big fan of the public school system. In fact, I'll tell something. We didn't rehearse this at all or talk about this, but if you've seen or heard of I'll just say with the choir that I'm in, we had a line that was said in our concert that just all through the month of December when we were rehearsing and everything, and I've been thinking so much about it, that that the light of conscience is not easily put out.
Oh yeah.
It's been really, really that I've been thinking about that phrase for several weeks now, that once you learn that there's something better out there for education, once you learn that it's possible, once you learn and once you try it like we have been trying, that it can be better than what you're currently doing, the light of conscience is not easily put out. Now what is going on in the schools. Now how it can be at home and the progress that you can see in your own kids. Yeah. It's difficult to ignore that afterwards. So that's, for us, that's part of some of this this mix hodgepodge of thoughts and feelings that have been going into homeschooling, is that we love a lot of the teachers and educators in our area, but we can't in good conscience
trust the system that they have to, that they're beholden.
We trust them, but we don't trust the system that they have to work in. So again, let me state that we love the educators in our area, and we know they're good people, but we don't trust the system that they have to work in. It's unfortunate they have to work in this type of system that is set up by the government.
Which is why we need a free market. So
we just want it separated from government.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will ever happen in our country.
Another thing they talked about in this conference was obstacles that get in the way of obtaining education. And I feel like they kind of painted education as like this huge, hard thing. And they're like, you have to pursue your education, like the higher education, at least. Like,
yeah, there's going to be hurdles that anyone has to jump over to obtain an education. But we don't need to paint them as scary. We can be positive, optimistic, and even energetic when speaking about educational opportunities, because the sky is the limit. And so that was one thing that I didn't love.
It was more of like this thing you have to do and not just like a lifestyle.
Yeah. One other thing that our church leaders commented about was they talked about the motto of Brigham Young University. So if you don't know, Brigham Young University is a church-owned school by our church. And on the outside of it, there is a slogan on the outside of the university. What's the slogan?
Yeah, it says, "Enter to learn, go forth to serve."
Yeah, we've always loved that. We both, when we were at BYU, we both loved that phrase. And it inspired me that I am entering a university to go and learn whatever profession that I'm trying to pursue, plus learn how to be a better disciple of Jesus Christ. And then help people. And then we're supposed to go and serve in the world. And there are so many ways to learn and grow in your knowledge and experience. And it's not just your formal degree programs.
And I think especially now that when we were even looking at homeschooling and with kind of the government and stuff, we're like, do we even want our kids to go to college these days? Like, who knows? It depends what they want to do. But there are so many other ways to learn. Like you just said, it's not just college. There's so many online courses. You could learn whatever you want online.
You really can.
Besides maybe brain surgery.
You can find almost a course for anything now.
Yeah.
There's self-study programs out there that you can pursue. I mean, I have like 3 that I want to do when I find time.
Yeah. There's always workshops, seminars.
Yeah, there's always workshops and seminars coming into our area, and I'm sure wherever you are, there's always opportunities for things that you can enroll in. If you want to go to a yoga workshop, I'm sure there'll be a yoga workshop somewhere in your area, or a bread workshop, or
I'm just saying all my hobbies.
or a computer programming workshop, something that we would probably never going to, but
Yeah.
there's obviously opportunities in every area to network with people in so many different aspects. That's another way to learn through a
Yeah. Or
non-formal degree.
just getting a mentor.
Someone who can
Makes
show you
a
the
lot.
ropes, an apprenticeship, someone who can just show you the ropes on how to do something, and then start learning, start practicing from a seasoned, experienced professional.
Yeah. And like projects and your own experience. Our son, my hand blender stopped working and he's like, "Can I take it apart? Try to
We're
fix
like,
it?" I'm like,
"Go
"Go for
ahead."
it. Let's see if you can learn how to fix it." He did not fix it, but I kind
But
of
he had
broke
fun.
it opening it.
Yeah, he had fun taking it apart and like, oh,
And that's
there's the
how you
motor,
learn,
and
you know?
there's the wires.
I think that hands-on learning is way better than
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities to volunteer. And if you want an example, just go to justserve.org. That's one that our church provides for people. You can put in an opportunity to say, hey, we're looking for a service project, or hey, I have a service project that I need people to help for. And that's another great opportunity.
yeah, podcasts, webinars.
That's
kind of why we're doing this.
There's plethora. There's other people who have already a lot of knowledge and experience in a particular aspect or field, and they're trying to share what they know with that knowledge. And so
And people will share a lot of that knowledge free.
Yeah, and a lot of us free, like we're doing. We're putting all this time and effort and energy. You can join online communities who have similar thoughts and beliefs for different things. Then there is continuous reading. So much can be learned through books. In fact, my mom was here. You have to hear a little bit about my mother. My mom came to stay with us around the last time we posted this video. And I think from Mom's visit and then all the stuff that we were doing in November and then December holiday stuff, it was kind of right when my mom came that we were like, oh, we don't have time to do a video right now. But my mom came to spend some time with us, and this was her first time to get a first-hand experience of what homeschooling experience is like. And it was interesting for her. And she came and she was up early in the morning, and we told her, you're going to work with this kid. And so then she was helping this one kid, and she was kind of nervous. She's like, what if I don't know? And I was like, trust me, if you can read, you can do it. And even her concerns at the beginning where she's like, well, how am I supposed to know what a second grader is supposed to teach? And we said, don't worry, the book will tell you. If you can read along with them, they'll come with you and you can learn together. And she quickly learned that, oh yeah, you don't have to be an educator, an expert to know it. If you can read, you can teach a kid. Anyway, so
when you were taking her home, right?
Yeah.
You asked her what her thoughts were about the whole week.
Yeah, we were driving home. I was driving her back home because she lives a distance away from us. And so I was driving her back home. And so then she started talking. And I was like, wait, stop. Let me put record on my phone because I wanted to document what her true thoughts were. Her first comment was,
she said the stay-at-home parent has to be really organized. And I don't know if this was a comment saying Lindsay is not organized, or if it was
it was an observation that she just said, hey, for a homeschooler, it was her opinion from her week and a half that she was with us, 2 weeks that she was with us, was that whoever is the stay-at-home parent has to be really organized. You have to be organized.
And I would argue that that's just, it depends on your style of homeschooling. If you're like an unschooler that's just learning with life, you probably don't have to be as organized. Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe you have to be more organized.
My mother grew up, when she was growing up, my mother was born and raised in Scotland and then later immigrated here to the United States. And when she was going through her schooling in her primary school in Scotland, she developed an ear problem, and where she really couldn't hear. She could not hear her teachers. And so she kept talking about this when I was recording her in the car, that she said, homeschooling would have helped me as a special needs child who was hard of hearing growing up. She couldn't hear the teacher because the teacher would write on the chalkboard
while she was explaining things.
with their back towards the
So
students.
sad.
And so my mom, because my mom had learned to read lips when her hearing was so bad that when the teacher would do the chalkboard, all the students were back there. She was back there, and she would be on the back row. And so she
didn't
couldn't
know
see,
what
she
was
couldn't
being
see or
said.
hear the teacher's lips or hear what she was saying. So my mom said she felt left out, and she was on the margins, and they skipped over her. So she would sit on the back row, and they helped her feel poorly because she couldn't hear. They rarely had time to give her the attention she deserved because their teachers were trying to teach 30 to 40 kids in her primary school. There were just too many kids that they just couldn't get to her. And again, that's again another reason. If your kid has a special need, or just you want to provide a different experience for your kid to ensure that they're going to learn what they need to learn, that might be a reason to homeschool.
Mm-hmm. And your mom even said that like most of what she learned in her life was from reading after she
When she became an adult.
Yeah,
when she became an adult, she learned more from reading books, going to the library and getting books and reading books than she did from her formal education. Yeah, it's kind of like the Matilda story. Again, what the takeaway that I took from her comments was that homeschooling is personalized, and one-on-one with that child, that we need to look and see what that child's strengths and needs are, opportunities, and then start addressing those needs. Interesting note, my mom eventually, so she never graduated the equivalent of high school, secondary in Scotland. She joined our church at 16, and then later served a mission in her home country for a year and a half. And then as soon as that was over, then she immigrated with a doctor as their nanny that was finishing up in the University of Glasgow. He came to do his residency in Salt Lake, and so she immigrated with him and then ended up staying. And so anyways, after my dad died several years ago, she decided to go back to school. This was down in St. George, when she lived down in St. George, and she went back to school and got her high school diploma.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
it was so cool watching her learn things and experience things for the first time. And then she was chosen to speak at her graduation. They asked her to speak, and so our whole entire family was there, and it was so fun to celebrate her.
And it was cool, her being the matriarch of the family and leading by example that education is important. I love that.
Yeah, it was a great message for her to say, and through her example, that education is important, and that we need to prioritize the attainment of knowledge, no matter our age.
Yeah.
And again, to kind of bring this full circle to what we've been saying, that we loved that our church emphasized that education is lifelong and not just something going somewhere. So anyway, so that's our spiel from having an outsider come in and help us, and it was fun for her, I think, to come and do it all and see what we were experiencing. So
yes.
Anyway, I think we'll be done with this video, but thanks so much for coming along this ride with us. Hopefully this will give you a flavor of what we've been up to these days, and we hope to
we'll
be better.
Yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Hopefully it's not 3 months, but
most importantly, remember, keep learning by faith, and to push forward and try and do your best to teach your kids.
Yeah, awesome. See ya.